Okay, thank you for joining us. I'm First Alert meteorologist Kyle Dickens, and we are tracking another night of significant storms, and we've already had one tornado warning. We are concerned that we could see maybe some more as the night progresses, and we're kind of at a lull right now, but that's not going to be long. And in fact, our areas to the north of the Quad Cities already starting to see some strong storms that we have to watch closely. So let's jump right over to radar and show you exactly what we're tracking and where those concerns are. And you can see right now, here's First Alert Doppler radar. We got a new warning, and that's a severe thunderstorm warning that was issued here just moments ago for parts of Louisa County, and I'll be able to get into that here in just a moment. So again, severe thunderstorm warning was just issued. Now this storm is still quite a ways away. We've got this out into Iowa County and also near the Ottumwa area. So we're going to be watching that here closely. So let's zoom in, and you can see this is the storm that they're concerned with. It is a base level severe thunderstorm warning, so not your typical, or it is your typical severe thunderstorm warning rather, not one of the higher end ones. But I do want to say we got to keep a very close eye on this because that concern will certainly be in play here for tonight. All right. Let's see here, and just give me a second here as I'm checking some new information here coming in from the National Weather Service. And again, we're going to be here with you all evening long to keep you updated on these storms. And so yeah, they're noting that the hail potential here, we've also got that potential for some damaging winds. So again, this is quickly merging, and I'm going to tell you folks right now, my concerns are that we're seeing an uptick in this activity, and we are seeing some strengthening with this storm. We're going to have to watch it. Again, we have an environment here out ahead of this out ahead of the boundary that we have in place where we could actually see some tornadoes. So that's why we have a tornado watch that's in effect until 9 p.m. I wouldn't be surprised if we get an extension of that as well. So Keokuk County, okay, signature strong winds is evident. Okay. So they're noting more of a, looking at some of the information from the National Weather Service, and we're noting, and I can see that here, no real rotation with that. What we could see with this, what would be the best case scenario is while we don't want damaging winds, we could move into a more of a linear type deal where we see a damaging wind threat. And you can see that near the Sigourney area in Keota. We've got potential winds up to 65 miles an hour, possibly. And that is going to be something we watch here very carefully as that continues off to the northeast. Just getting some updates too. I want to take a look here to the north again. We're looking at this particular cell that's now moving into Galena. You can see we've got a flash flood warning here for Dubuque, Joe Davies, Jones, and Linn counties. And we're going to be watching these storms very closely, not only for the potential for some damaging winds, maybe some hail, already starting to see an uptick in hail cores, which is concerning in itself. We'll get to that here in a minute, but I want to watch too for that possibility of the training, which means that one storm kind of riding over top of another, and we get a lot of rain to fall from these, and things could be, we could see some flooding very quickly. And not to mention too, the other side of this is the fact that we've had a big storm move through yesterday with lots of rainfall as well. So yeah, we're going to be watching this very closely up in that area. I'm looking here at some new reports and just kind of getting some information as well. But very notable here, that uptick in activity. So Maquoketa over towards Savannah, Clinton, DeWitt, Tipton, Durant. I'm concerned about this storm and this whole line of storms, but I am concerned about this area here that we're kind of seeing that big uptick in activity. We got to watch that. I'm going to look at velocity just to make sure we have nothing rotating, because we did see that earlier. We had that tornado warning for Joe Davies County, and that was for a quick spin up or potential for a quick spin up tornado. So what I am noticing here is damaging wind potential, and that might be the threat that we focus on for some of these areas. And you can see maybe 60-mile-an-hour winds up here. This is near the Anamosa area, so we're going to be watching that area very closely. Up to the north too, not really seeing anything. We're say that maybe a little bit of coupling of the winds here into Joe Davies County with some of this new activity that's developed, but nothing that I would say we're going to get a tornado warning out of at this point. So which is good news. Looking at some of the additional activity out here into Missouri, we've got, yeah, unfortunately this isn't just it. We've got more activity too here to the south. into Missouri and southern Missouri. It will be eventually moving into southern Missouri. Those storms will be a concern for us as well. We got a new flash flood warning. We'll take a look at that. No surprise there. But let's do this. We've got this very organized storm that is warned. What I'm going to do now is I want to get some information out of this and see how fast it's moving. And right now we're moving east at 45. So we're going to put a path on this and let you know when you could expect it in your hometown as it continues off to the northeast and eventually here into the KWQC viewing area really fairly soon. And unfortunately, I do think that this might be a deal where we get some impacts here in the metro from this. Hopefully it could be like yesterday and we see it weekend before it gets here. But here we go. Iowa City, you expect that here momentarily, probably really on top of you. That storm will be moving in at any second here. West Liberty about 7:30, a little bit after 7:30. We're getting to 8 o'clock here for Muscatine, Walcott. Quad Cities at 8:30. 8:45 is when this particular storm, if it continues on its current path and course, will make its way into Clinton. But Clinton, I'd be more concerned about this cell up here that you might see, you will likely see move in before that storm does. So I want to take a look here, and I'm going to go with the same storm motion. I think we're about the same, but might be speeding up. I'm going to go 50. So this will kind of pad it a little bit here, but such a weird shaped storm here. This is the main line, folks. So again, Savannah 742, Freeport 750. That's out of the viewing area, and Clinton about 840 if that holds together and continues on its current path and course. But again, a couple things that we want to talk about here is look at that activity here to the north. We've got a, excuse me as I hit the wrong button there. We've got to watch this because, again, I think flooding is going to be a risk, which we've got that new flash flood warning that's in place here for Joe Daviess County. Areas north of Highway 30 right now, a big cluster of thunderstorms as it continues to expand. I want to take a look at lightning. Lightning is always a good indicator of intensity in storms, and while these are, not, I wouldn't say the most intense right now, we don't see a lot of lightning with them. I'll go to 15-minute interval here and see what we've got, and we can kind of scope around here and see where the lightning is the densest. And here just west of Tipton, we've got a little bit denser lightning there, which would indicate that that storm is certainly on an uptrend. But look at this storm down here to the southwest of the Quad Cities. Lots of lightning with it. In fact, let's take a look and see how much lightning. We can do that here with our radar. And just in the last 15 minutes, in this frame here that you see, we got 450 strikes, over 450 strikes in the last 15 minutes. So very strong storm, no doubt about that. Continuing to watch that potential for some damaging winds. And let's see here. Let's look around and see what radar's estimating here. Yeah, we're getting up to 74 mile an hour wind potential. So I'm going to tell you folks right now, as this gets closer, we've got a very small portion of our viewing area is in this warning. But if it continues on here, we're going to be talking about probably here in the next 20 to 30 minutes, we're probably going to be going on television and cutting into programming if we continue with that type of wind profile here, which, again, 75 mile an hour winds can do quite a bit of damage. So we want to continue to watch that. But I'm noticing here with these storms, southern Iowa, northern Missouri, they're trying to tap into that heightened parameter for the tornado parameter that we talk about, and really trying to show some signs of strengthening, maybe some rotation with those. We've got to watch those. But I'm telling you, this storm west of Washington, Iowa, near Keota is going to be the one that we watch. And it's got a little bit more of a northeaster. They're kind of looking at this, and we look at we look specifically there. And look at where this is heading. If it's going to head right into the Quad Cities. So Quad Cities, roughly, I would say this is the core of the storm. It'll be into town if it doesn't continue to expand. That's the other thing too. And actually, I'm gonna kind of give some margin of error for that, because what happens is the wind can sometimes surge out of the storm, develop more additional activity, and so while that's where the current core of the wind and really nasty part of the storm is right now, that could expand and kind of surpass rather the storm itself. So I'd say 8:30, 8:45 here in the metro Quad Cities, we could expect that if it continues on its current path and course. But right now we are looking at winds maybe as high as 75 miles an hour and an uptick in hail. So always a sign that we've got some strengthening going on here. Let's take a look at what we could be seeing for hail. Let's take a look at the hail size, probably quarters, nickel size there. Northwest of Washington, we're up to quarter size. So that's what we're watching there. We're going to continue to watch that. Going back to radar, and we track that. Folks, this is going to be a bumpy night for a lot of folks, and much more widespread than yesterday's storms. While that is not a good thing because it affects more people, what we do see, though, is a lack of some of those higher-end severe storms, severe weather, like the damaging and destructive tornadoes. That possibility is not really there. We're talking about spin-up tornado potential. Those are ones you still want to take seriously, but you don't necessarily well, I don't want to tell people to not take shelter. Those are ones that aren't going to destroy your house. They're not going to blow your house down. But what we saw yesterday, the potential was certainly there for that. With these big, more widespread linear storms, we call them, damaging winds are the primary risk, but you could certainly get some spin-up tornadoes within that line. I want to continue to watch this because I'm noticing, we're seeing an uptick in the wind here in parts of Jackson County. So continue to watch that. Jackson County hit again here as we got more storms moving in, close to 60 miles an hour according to radar. So we'll continue to watch that, but certainly some strengthening going on there. We want to, again, keep an eye on that. Very concerned, though, about this particular cell out here south and west of the Quad Cities. That is going to be continuing to be a concern for our area as it gets closer and closer to the QCA here. So let's broaden things out. If you're just joining us here, here's what we've got. We've got several, you got a whole boatload of warnings. I'm going to take a look at this because it kind of thins things out and shows you a better idea, as long as you know where your county's at here. It shows you a better idea of what we've got, takes off a lot of that clutter so you can see the storms. And here's what we've got. We've got this line that's congealing. South of I-80, there is a threat for, kind of a heightened threat for tornadoes. We got that tornado watch until 9. North of I-80, damaging wind and hail will be the primary threats. Here within the next half hour or so, we're going to continue to see this activity move into the KWQC viewing area, and again, it's certainly going to be a concern as it does so, as damaging winds, hail, and again, maybe some tornadoes will be a threat. Continue to watch that. So here's what we're going to do, folks. We're going to leave you on this. I'm going to put radar in motion here, and we're going to take off the hail and the lightning. And so what we're going to do real quick is we're going to get ready, just because we got to watch that storm that's now getting ready to move into the viewing area here. It'll be here before you know it. We're going to get some stuff ready and aligned here, but we're going to keep radar up. So stay with us, and I'll jump back on here too once we have an update and kind of get an idea of if a new warning is issued, and also if there's any developments that we have that we're noticing with these storms. That's the beauty of streaming. We could stay on here the whole time, so that's what we plan on doing. So again, stay with us. We're going to jump on here with more updates, and then again, if once that time comes where we get some new warnings issued here into the KWQC viewing area, we are going to jump on the air as well, and we'll be, you don't have to leave anywhere. Right here is where you're going to be finding that coverage too. So if you have to head to the basement or take cover, you could take us with us. You could take us with you. So we'll be watching these storms here. Again, we're going to leave radar up, and stay with us here throughout the duration of the evening. We'll keep you ahead of the storm. Alrighty, and thank you so much for staying with us here on Facebook. We want to get to some questions that we've had. We're tracking this storm here that continues, several storms that continue to move into the viewing area here. Looking at some of your questions too. We'll get to those here in a minute. And if you're joining us on Facebook, you can absolutely chime in and let us know. What you're seeing or questions you might have for us as we are closely monitoring. Again, I think it's going to be a pretty bumpy night. So most notable right now is this storm here that's getting ready to move into Loiza County. They just put out a tornado possible tag on this. So let's dive into that and take a look. And there is some, we'll call it strong rotation, but something we got to watch here. And it's going to be just to the east of Washington here, right along 218. So what we're looking at specifically here is this area. I go back here, this couple pockets. I'd say this area here is what we're watching for, maybe some embedded rotation within this line. But the primary risk here is going to be large hail, but also some damaging winds. And you can see right now, hail is up to, so they got tagged quarter size, but we've seen a little bit of an evolution of this hail core here, so probably right at quarter sized here. Actually, according to First Alert Doppler radar, we're going up to $0.50. So this has to be watched very carefully. And again, folks, we're going to be watching this as it does look like it's going to clip Loiza County here momentarily. So we want to watch that. If you're in the Loiza County area, this is your first alert. We got that little northwestern corner of Loiza County in this. But again, folks, my biggest concern is this is heading towards the metro. So the metro Quad Cities, get ready. We've got some time here, but this is going to be impacting us here as we head into the next hour or so. Let's take a look and time it out for you. And this is not exclusive to that part that is rotating or severe. So make that very clear. This is the entire line, not the entire, this entire line is not all severe. We do have little pockets within this line that are severe and possibly rotating, but it brings it in about 8:30. So I'd say anywhere from 8 o'clock to 8:30 is going to be the time frame where we start to see it move into the metro Quad Cities. Again, that's going to be the leading edge of the most significant portion of this. Muscatine about 7:54. So as we head close to the top of the hour, that will be moving into Muscatine County, specifically the city of Muscatine, but Muscatine County. It's getting ready to move into town, and I can guarantee you here, probably as we sit here and talk, maybe within the next 5 minutes or so, we will see a severe thunderstorm warning, at least a severe thunderstorm warning extended here into Muscatine County. Might even go into the metro, and so if it does, then yeah, we will assess that. But again, we are watching some broad rotation, not very tight, but it's something that has to be monitored. Maybe a little bit of weakening actually with that, which would be fantastic news. I don't think anybody's going to complain if we get this to weaken before it hits the metro, or really any areas that we cover. Let's take a look at how much or how high the winds are within this. We're still up there, so that's 47 miles an hour. That's not quite as below severe limits, which is good. So let's sample around there, 60. So we're still severe at the severe threshold. As far as rotation goes, yeah, maybe something up here to watch, but I've seen a lot stronger before, and that would be including last night. So as I kind of scrub back and forth, yeah, last night's storms were, we were in a much more favored environment. Now, we could certainly see some tornadic activity today, especially south of I-80, so that is going to be a concern. I will say this activity here to the north, if you're watching us in Maquoketa, maybe northern Clinton County, Carroll County, Joe Daviess County, flash flood warnings are in place for at least Joe Daviess County and Jackson County as well, Dubuque County. We've seen some very heavy rainfall that has fallen. In fact, we can take a look at, this is just going to be an hour, and so we'll let it load up here. And actually, I'm going to change that. I'm going to go, as this loads, well, we'll take a look at the hour composite. We'll go 2 hours actually. And let's sample around here and see how much rainfall we've seen. This is in Jones County, so yeah, close to 2 inches. It has fallen very quickly, and look up here towards Stockton, yeah, maybe 2 inches of rain within just a small, again, maybe an hour, 2 hour period. But the other problem that we have here is we look at, I'll go the last 36 hours and look at this. This is telling here because we've had, again, this has kind of been the area that has seen all the rainfall. Look at this in the last 36 hours. Yeah, just this is north of Anamosa, west of Cascade, Iowa, outside of our viewing area, but radar estimating 6 inches of rain has fallen. And this has been the corridor, the Highway 20 corridor has kind of been where everything has seemingly gone as far as our severe weather goes in the last couple days. All right, so to recap here, we continue to watch this severe thunderstorm warning that it's clipping Loiza County at this point, but I can tell you we're still seeing 60-mile-an-hour winds. They've got it tagged tornado possible. At least from what I'm seeing, I'm not noticing any significant rotation, but it needs to be watched. And I do want to watch this hail, where we got this hail core here, because it is once again kind of cycling a little bit here. So you see, we go to a much larger hail core, weaken a little bit. Oh, now it's good. That's good. That's a good sign. Where we see it down, when we get below the blues, that's going to be below severe limits, at least on the hail. But let's take a look at the winds. And again, one thing that we're seeing happen here is we are now at a point where we are below severe limits. Or excuse me, we're below severe limits on the hail. Well, let's take a look at the winds and see what the winds are doing, because that was a concern. And there is still some damaging winds, but you could see that, I'll go back a few frames. And right here, as it was near the Hayesville, Sigourney area over towards Keota, you kind of see those blues the green turn to blue. That's an indication of some very damaging winds. We're talking maybe 70-mile-an-hour winds. And then here was where that circulation may have been and why they tagged it tornado possible, broad, but it was there. And so now as we've gone in time here, we've seen that circulation. We had a little bit of, it looks like some inflow or some activity moved into the inflow of the storm. You saw how that kind of sucked up into the storm itself. So yeah, we've, okay, let's see here. Just looking at some updates. Okay, all right. Pea-sized hail falling in Maquoketa, here in that report. So nothing too crazy, but yeah, we saw as that storm was going here. I'm gonna go back in time. You can see we had some of this other smaller activity out ahead of it moved up into the outflow, which kind of most likely choked it off, which not a bad thing. Okay, here's a wide view here of everything we've got going, and this kind of takes everything and thins it out a little bit so it's a little bit easier to see. So as long as you know where your county's at, you can see how the radar looks, and we're kind of taking all those layers off, so you can see kind of the shape, because we do look at that. We look at the shape of the storms and how, if we get those hook echoes and little inflow notches. But what you do notice here is this whole line is congealing into one. And so damaging winds are going to be the primary threat here this evening as it continues to move off to the east, and eventually maybe a little bit of a southeasterly component. But you'll see here, just based off of this radar frame right now, is the majority of the KWQC viewing area is going to be in line for some storms here this evening, some heavy storms. We still have to watch, though, these individual cells off to the southwest. So this one will impact the Mount Pleasant area eventually, and it's got a little bit of hail with it. We got to watch that, but nothing that seems too significant. Not noticing any rotation. But again, the southeast corner of Iowa is an area that is favored for some not only severe weather, but maybe some tornadic activity, and that's what we're going to be watching. So, all right, so let's back things out here. And again, I'm waiting at this point for a new warning to get issued for Muscatine County. I believe it'll be coming soon, most likely, if they do continue with it. And again, I want to watch, because we do have, right near that hail core, actually, we do have some uptick in maybe some circulation. So I would be watching that here near Conesville. So what you have here is you've got you got the storm itself, and I will give me 1 second here as we get the right tools. You can see how this storm here is shaped, kind of like we call it a hook echo, and there you go, it's like a hook. But what's happening here, just to kind of give you an idea of what we're watching happen, is this area here kind of tucks around. That's because we got wind starting to inflow into the storm. And right here is where you got to watch. When you see that kind of that indentation, that's where your updraft is likely to be, and that's where you would see a tornado. And it matches up with where our hail's at too. So good indication that, yeah, we still have to watch that. Might actually be seeing somewhat of a circulation here that is tightening up a little bit here just outside of Conesville. So Let's see what we got for winds. Maybe 70-mile-an-hour winds according to radar. So that's going to be what we need to watch this. And this is going to head right towards Muscatine. So if you're Muscatine, this is your first alert. Again, I'd expect here any second to get a warning extended here to include Muscatine. And eventually, again, folks, it's going to head up. It's right down the pike here into the metro Quad Cities. In fact, taking that particular part of the storm here, let's do this. Let's put a track on it and go, oh yeah, we'll keep it at that speed, a little bit faster. I like to try to put these paths just a little bit faster than reality because it gives you just a few extra minutes here so you don't have to worry. It kind of takes the guesswork out of it. But let's get it up into the Quad Cities. Okay, so if it continues, this is that portion that we're concerned with, that updraft. If it continues on its current path and course to the northeast, here it is going to be a concern. Okay, we did recently receive a course report. Okay, looking at some excuse me, folks, as we are looking at the latest reports from the Weather Service and beyond. But this is that area that has a little bit of hail with it and also maybe some rotation. So we're going to continue to watch that as it heads off to the northeast. And if it does continue on the current path, course, and strength, Conesville, it's pretty much over top of you. Let's about 7:55. Muscatine, just after 8 o'clock, right around 8 o'clock. Then Durant, 8:20. Buffalo, close to 8:30. And right around 8:30 here in Davenport in the Quad Cities is when we expect this particular cell to move in. And again, this is the cell where there is a little bit of concern. I wouldn't say that this is anything that... oh, okay. I say that, and I keep looking back here, and it keeps strengthening. That's got to be watched. We might be getting close to a tornado warning based off of that radar scan right there. I would not be surprised if Muscatine County, if you get a tornado warning. I don't want to check. Okay, just going to see here. So, all right, folks. I think that we're closing in on just that's some going back to this. And then probably going to break away here and get ready because I think if we, we got those colors, the brighter reds matching up matching up to some of the greens here. We notice some enhanced area where there might be some rotation, and it's crossing over into Muscatine County now with no warning. So Conesville over towards the let's see, some Cranston. Eventually here into Muscatine proper. I'm going to get kind of close here, and just since we know where that rotation is, again, albeit it's not, it doesn't look like a tornado is imminent at any moment here, but with the environment that we have, we got to be very careful with these. And this is the times of arrival here. So Cedar Bluffs recreation area, it's pretty much over top of that area now. Conesville, 7:45, 7:52 for Letts. Muscatine Municipal, we're going to be right at the top of the hour, and then the power plant there in the Muscatine area, 8 o'clock. So again, what we're watching, if you're just joining us, there is and it weakened a little bit in that scan. So yeah, it looks like it came back up in that scan. So Weather Service is watching it too. They're noting this as well. But second scan there. So one scan you see here, we're going to go back. You see, okay, we're kind of weak there a little bit. We got that cell that kind of moved in and merged with this. This scan, boom, we had some possible circulation there. And then next scan, well, it's there. It's not as strong as it was in that one frame. So we got to watch these frame by frame. So we're going to see how this evolves. I would assume at any moment we're going to get a warning, a severe thunderstorm warning at minimum for Muscatine County, depending on what the Weather Service is seeing with their radar. So yeah, still some concerns there, but that is now crossing into Muscatine County. Back to the north here too, I want to mention I'm not noticing, maybe near West Liberty, got to watch that storm, but here to the north, we're now into Clinton County. We do have maybe a little bit of hail, but this is all looks like more of a damaging wind threat, or at this point, gusty winds. Not even seeing anything that would be warning worthy up here to the north. So north of I-80 right now, things are okay, with the exception of Cedar County. We got to watch these winds. A little pool of maybe 60-mile-an-hour winds there. So Cedar County heads up for you. We do have a spotter actually that is out on this particular storm right now in Muscatine County, so we're gonna see what he's got here. But some very fascinating images actually, looking like there might be actually looking at this maybe a wall cloud here is what he's got. So That is interesting. It is broad. I'm going to get an exact location, but yeah, it's a it's a very pretty looking storm. Albeit we got a threat of some circulation within it, but yeah, we are going to watch that very very closely here. I'm trying to get an exact location, but I would say this: it doesn't look like I wouldn't say tornado's not imminent at this time based off what I'm seeing here, but it does look like we have a possible wall cloud forming here. Oh yeah, that might be, folks. I don't know. Looking at this here, we got another uptick in this. Okay, so what we're going to do here, I think we need to prepare to go on. Yeah, and the hail's ticking up too. Okay, so what we're going to do, folks, if you're in Muscatine County, you need to take your tornado precautions right now. I'd say we got an uptick in the hail. Yeah, I would say we need to get a tornado warning out. So we're going to jump on air. So we're going to pause here for just a second, and we're going to go on television and let folks know, since this is heading right towards Muscatine. I'm really concerned about this, and we've got a spotter now. He's saying that there is increasing rotation too. So again, so bear with us here, folks. We're going to be heading, going on the air with our coverage here momentarily.
First Alert Weather Team.
All right, I'm meteorologist Kyle Dickens alongside Teresa Bryant here. We want to get right to this warning that we have issued here that was issued moments ago, but we've got a spotter that's actually southwest of Muscatine that is confirming a tornado on the ground. This is a severe thunderstorm warning now, and it's tagged tornado possible, but he is saying there is confirmed damage right now. I don't know what kind of damage, but folks, you need to take this seriously. This is heading right towards Muscatine. If you're in Muscatine, you need to take your tornado precautions right now. Again, we've got multiple spotters that are reporting this possible tornado. And I'm looking at the velocity here. It does look like, while the signature not very strong, I can tell you exactly where it's at here right now. And it's going to be in this vicinity here is where we're watching that potential circulation. Here's Muscatine. It is heading right towards Muscatine, folks. I'm telling you, folks, in Muscatine, you need to take shelter now. Again, we do have spotters reporting this tornado on the ground. We are working to get that information to the National Weather Service here. Okay, so we got damage confirmed too. Tornado continues to be on the ground. So exact location here, and there you can see right now. We continue with, I think it's a small tornado, but let's continue with that here near the Letts area. So they're working on getting it. We'll get a picture of this and see what it looks like. But right here is that circulation just to the northeast of Letts. Again, look at where it's heading. It's heading right towards Muscatine here off to the east-northeast. If you're in Muscatine, you need to take shelter now. Right now, we don't have a tornado warning technically, but we're going to continue to watch this. And as, again, we have a spotter that's out there that is confirming this. So very dangerous storm here, possibly here into the Grandview area as well. We could be watching some circulation there too. So giving you the information on the warning that we do have. Right now, we've got a severe thunderstorm warning that's in effect here for Cedar, Muscatine, Rock Island, and Scott County. It's tagged tornado possible, so we might hear some sirens going off here in the metro. We've got a hail core there near the Conesville area. Again, if you're just joining us here, we've got a spotter that's out in this area, and I've heard from actually multiple people that are in Muscatine County that they are getting reports or seeing for themselves a tornado that is on the ground. We've notified the Weather Service, so we're going to see if they're going to get this tornado warning out. But Muscatine, this is your alert. You need to take shelter now as this continues off to the northeast. Let's get some times on this as this continues to track off to the northeast here. Roughly, again, I think that circulation here is just to the right near Letts. And so we're going to continue off to the northeast here. And again, if it continues on its current path and course, it will eventually make its way into the Metro Quad Cities. So here we go. Times of arrivals. Not a few minutes here for Muscatine Municipal. Muscatine about 8:13. So you got about 10 minutes. You need to take shelter now. You got time to get into your shelter, but I do it now. Muscatine Medical Surgical Center, same time there. Illinois City and Illinois City Elementary School about 8:20. Then we're into the Louisa generating station. There's a tornado warning now issued. So you saw that here. We've been talking about that. So tornado warning is now in effect with that observed tornado. Again, folks, we've got those spotters that were on it. So you heard it here first. And we're going to get the information on that warning. But I can tell you exactly where it's at here. And it is going to go, it does include Muscatine. But I will say, if it continues on its current path and course here, it's going to take it into Muscatine, but I can tell you it looks like at this point it might just skirt the kind of the south side of Muscatine. It is moving a little bit slower too, so interesting there. I'm going to kind of adjust our times here. And Teresa, you have an update.
Yeah, and Kyle, just wanted to let you know, just to confirm what you said, confirmed tornado over Letts. About 8 miles northeast of Columbus Junction. This is moving east at around 35 miles per hour. And so it is currently on track, if it stays on track, to move not only through Muscatine, but into the immediate Quad Cities metro. So this is something that we've been watching over the past half hour or so. And as this storm begins to strengthen and moves toward the east, we will not only see tornadic activity, and remember, we're talking a confirmed tornado has been spotted. So this is a very important piece of information that you should know. If you were within the path of this storm, especially within this area right here that is shaded in red, that is the tornado warning. And again, it is moving east at about 35 miles per hour. And if I take a look over here to get some information, a tornado is on the ground right now. So that means you should find your safe space right now. Take cover immediately. either move to a basement or a small interior room on the first floor of any building that you happen to be in. If you are outdoors, get into a sturdy building and take cover, because not only are we seeing a tornado on the ground, we are also seeing some very strong winds associated with it. That rotation has been showing up for the past several minutes here, and so this is a very important piece of information for you.
Absolutely, Teresa. We can see exactly where this is at. I'm going to put a path on this. They've got a short duration warning on this because I can tell you it wasn't that strong, then it all of a sudden kind of spiked up here, and right there is where that is. That is a confirmed tornado, and we are getting reports that there may have been some structural damage in the Letts area. So if you're in any of these communities listed here, this is going to possibly get into the south side of Muscatine. If you're in Muscatine, tornado precautions should be already there based on our warnings. It'll cross the river, but right now the circulation, here's Crimson Avenue. We'll get some other streets here too. Let's see, right near Muscatine Municipal is where this is at right now. So again, a confirmed tornado. County Road, let's see, G44X, that's in Louisa County. This is the Louisa-Muscatine County border, and that is essentially where this circulation, not only circulation, but a confirmed tornado is right now. So just east of Letts, move through Letts, and unfortunately we are getting reports of some structural damage. We can actually see here too, and I'll let our booth get prepared for this, but we have some video from one of our spotters that was out there that actually saw the wall clouds start to form. That's when we jumped on air, and then now we've got this tornado. But here, again, Muscatine, area south of Muscatine, that is the area you have to be in shelter right now. A lot of rural area out here, but there are plenty of farmsteads and homesteads out here if you do live in the southern part of Muscatine County. Also, eventually here crossing into Mercer County as well, so, and Rock Island County. So again, unfortunately, this does have its eyes kind of set here. Current path and course might bring it into the Illinois Quad Cities, but we do see the circulation. I'm going to kind of go take things here kind of frame by frame. It is kind of hard to tell there where that was, but you can see as it moved over Letts, boom, right there, and now it continues almost a little bit more easterly. So that will continue taking it into the southern part of Rock Island County. So the Drury area here, again, south of Muscatine, but Buffalo Prairie and Edgington, you're not technically in this tornado warning, but heads up to you because that is heading your way. And if we continue to see this circulation continue to increase here, we will see that tornado warning extended. But backing things up here real quick, and then I want to go back and look and see if we can see if there was any debris picked up. We do have, again, there were reports of structural damage as this moved through the Letts area. So I'm going to go back here, and hard to tell. It really is hard to tell here. So what we've got here on the scope is this is the debris tracker, and radar's looking out, looking at the rain, the wind, and this actually will pick up things that aren't rain or hail or anything that would be meteorological. It picks up debris, and that's boards and who knows what else. And we're not seeing that, so that could be a sign that if we did see a tornado or continue to see a tornado, it was weak and maybe it hit some small structures. Nonetheless, you want to take it seriously, folks. As again, we do have just moments ago was a confirmed tornado here that moved through the Letts area and continues really. Again, it's a broad circulation just north of the Port Louisa area. I will say this though, Muscatine, again, take your shelter. But it does look like the circulation is going to, it's going to go, too close for comfort, but it might go just south of town. But I do think here into, again, southeastern Muscatine County, a little bit of Louisa County there too, because again, it's riding kind of that Louisa-Muscatine County border. And again, Rock Island County, a little bit of Mercer County there too, just to the northwest of Eliza. But again, we'll put it in motion here once again, and you can see that this thing has had a little bit more of a kind of an easterly dive to it. So we're going to continue to watch that. But again, tornado warning continues here. The time on that, let's see here on timing. And
8:30?
Okay, so that warning 8:30 continues here. One thing that we're noticing too, as I back out, it does look like this cell may have merged a little bit with one of the other cells, but we do have some activity out here, out ahead of it. So Muscatine, you're probably hearing some thunder, seeing some lightning. You could get into some hail here too as that continues off. Again, that circulation, a little displaced here, but you can kind of see, we talk about that hook echo, an inflow notch. Right there is right where it's at or close to it, and that's right along. It's about to cross, let's see, this is a 61 here? Yeah. It's about to cross 61 here, just south of Muscatine, but from Muscatine down to the Muscatine-Louisa County border into Rock Island County and parts of Mercer County, we continue with a tornado warning here. This is until 30. Again, we have confirmation by our spotters that were out there that there was a tornado, and we jumped on air right away once we got that report, and that's why we are bringing you this coverage and again, keeping you up to date and ahead of the storm. So Metro Quad Cities, heads up, we're on the edge of this warning. It does take it into the western metro, in both Iowa and Illinois. We'll take a look at Skyview here in a moment, but I can tell you we're going to see a lot of lightning off to the southwest. Nonetheless, here, I want to go back into the storm as it is a serious situation, as again, we had a confirmed tornado just moments ago. And we continue with some circulation. I would say not the most impressive circulation I've ever seen, but we continue with that. I'm going to go kind of east, a little bit northeast here, and this is where we will see it here move into town, or into your town, Illinois City, about 8:23. Actually, some strengthening right there. So continue with that tornado warning here, and I continue to be concerned. It's just due east of the Letts area. Okay, Illinois City, about 8:23. Buffalo Prairie, get close to 8:30 for Buffalo Prairie. Take shelter now. Edgington, a little past 8:30, and then Edgington High School, same deal there. So that's if it continues on the same path and course. It is, relatively speaking, a small circulation, not a big one. And it's not going to be one of those deals like what we saw yesterday where the potential was there for a destructive tornado, but we still have a fairly strong indication of circulation here due east of Letts right now. They've trimmed back that tornado warning a little bit here. We continue with that though, so they are continuing with that tornado warning. But now we're about to cross the river here, so it's about to cross over the Mississippi River into Illinois, and that would be right along the Mercer and Rock Island County border. Again, to you folks out to the east here, Edgington, Buffalo Prairie, Illinois City. Take shelter now. This is heading right towards you, and we do continue with that circulation. Teresa, you got any updates?
Kyle, just some new information from Muscatine County Emergency Management. A spotter actually sitting at 61 and bypass, and possible rotation on the ground to our south near Fruitland. Okay,
near Fruitland. So you heard that here, folks, near the Fruitland area. You need to take your tornado precautions right now. I can tell you, folks, yeah, so here's that area right there. And let's talk about some of these streets that we're going to see impacted by this. This right here, this line, that's the Louisa-Muscatine County line. This is the Mercer-Rock Island County line here. So it's about to cross the river. This is the Mississippi River. So right now, that's where we're placing it. We've got here County Road X61. It's east, right now, it's to the east of Highway 61. So if you know anybody traveling on Highway 61, it is to the east of 61 now, and continues off to the east, maybe a little bit northeast. But Drury area here, might get close to Eliza. Eliza's right here. That is where it's at, though. Continues off to the east-northeast. We continue with that tornado warning. Again, Boxcar Road is another road to note of that is in the path of this. Let's see, 170th Avenue West, 180th Avenue. This is in Rock Island County. Buffalo Prairie, you're out here. You got to watch, because if it continues on and continues on its current path and course, you will see that move into town too. So again, folks, dangerous situation here as we continue to track this tornado warned storm. This is now moving into Rock Island County. New update there. We're going to take a look that rotation is very impressive actually right now. So we continue to see this strengthen here, and you can see right here is where that's at. What we're looking at here is the wind velocity. Green is winds moving towards the radar. Radar is going to be up here in the Quad Cities at Mountain Joy. So you got the green, that's the wind moving towards the radar. Red is away right there. Kind of, you see where those pixels start to cross over. Wow, very strong indication here. This is where it's at right now, folks. And we're getting some good updates, rapid updates here on radar. Right now, it is over 20th Street, 350th Street West. This is now crossing. It is essentially on top of the Mississippi River right now. I don't know if that was an update to the tornado warning or if it was a new tornado warning, Teresa.
New tornado warning.
Okay, new tornado warning. Where are we at for that?
We are in Hancock and also Lee County in Iowa, Hancock County, Illinois.
Yep, okay, so we'll show that briefly here, but yeah. Right down there, those were those other storms, Teresa, you and I were watching here that were coming out of Missouri.
We were talking about that before, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So Keokuk area down there. not quite our viewing area here, but we do have folks that we know that watch us in Keokuk. Heads up to you because you're under a tornado warning. This tornado warning for Clark, Hancock, Lee counties is in effect until 9 p.m. So we're watching that closely. But of most concern right now continues to be what we've had. Again, we've had spotters, not only spotters on this tracking it. We've had even some folks that we work with here at KWQC had eyes on this, and we do have some video. So we're going to see here what the new update from the Weather Service too. So Keokuk, Iowa, tornado warning there. Just talking about that storm, which we looked at just a moment ago. But currently, right now, circulation right in this vicinity here. This is, again, now crossing the river into Rock Island and Mercer County is where this is at, is where we've got that circulation. It is essentially, so 180th Avenue, 350th Street West. We continue with that circulation. It's still there. And, okay, let's see here. Let's get some other streets. Okay, 155th Avenue, that's near the Eliza area. And then eventually, let's see here. 266th Street West is where we're also seeing some circulation. It's not as strong. I'm going to go back and put this in motion, and you can kind of see how it's evolved as it's continued to move off to the east here. We kind of see it strengthen, weaken. When it was just a few frames ago, it was at a strong point here where it was very concerning. I'd say right there was one of the moments where it did look pretty concerning. But we continue off to the east here as this continues to move into again, into the Illinois side, into Rock Island County. So the Drury area here, this is kind of the, again, we're getting closer and closer to the metro. There's Buffalo Prairie, here's Edgington, Buffalo Prairie, Edgington, and then off into parts of the Quad Cities, the Buffalo area. Here, 192, Loud Thunder Road, 22, could all be impacted by this. But one thing I'm noticing too is, watch that. I don't think that is anything too concerning yet, but something we want to watch that is closer to Muscatine. So, and we have a little bit of hail core in that vicinity. So, okay, so we got to watch though, because we do have some activity developing here out ahead of this main storm that is tornado warned. I don't want to lose sight of this, that we do have a severe thunderstorm warning that takes it into the metro. Rock Island, Scott counties, Muscatine, and Cedar counties this warning until 8:45. And you see there, tornado possible. I can tell you, not only a tornado possible, at least within that section of the storm that we're tracking, there has been tornadoes and even damage being reported. Teresa, any updates on that from the, I know you said you heard from the Clinton County, or excuse me, Muscatine County emergency manager.
Yeah, nothing yet, but again, still a very powerful storm. We have actually had Muscatine County emergency management concerning a spotter reporting a funnel cloud looking south from West Fulham and Logan Streets in Muscatine about 4 minutes ago, says that has now lifted, but that doesn't mean that we are out of danger. We are still looking at not only that tornado warning for Louisa, Mercer, Muscatine, and Rock Island counties until 8:30. We are also looking at that severe thunderstorm warning that remains in effect for Cedar, Muscatine, Rock Island, and Scott counties. That's in effect until 8:45 with a tornado possible tag. So let's zoom out. We'll see exactly what's happening here. We've got plenty of unstable environment to work with these storms as they continue to move in and blossom. And so, yeah, this is something that could be very dangerous. And now is the time to seek shelter, as we will be seeing these storms continue to work their way to the east and northeast. There's quite a bit of rain associated with these storms, so we've seen several flash flood warnings associated with this, especially in some of our northern counties, and also looking at large hail associated with these storms, upwards of 1.5 inches in diameter. Those can cause quite a bit of damage, along with those very strong winds at about 60 to 60 plus miles per hour. So again, something that we're going to continue to watch in our viewing area. Let me zoom in to the tornado warning that we are looking at currently in effect for parts of Louisa, Mercer, Muscatine, and Rock Island counties. We've seen the circulation just now starting to move over the Mississippi River. And that puts paid to the myth that tornadic activity never crosses the river. It absolutely does.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to go ahead and see if we've got a signature on this of any rotation. We've already had reports from spotters noting that there are or has been a tornado on the ground, a very dangerous situation. And as we zoom in, and you'll see exactly what we're talking about here, and Kyle, you can help me out on this.
Yeah.
Just over the river right now,
Absolutely.
along that county line.
Yeah, absolutely. That is exactly where it's at. So now into the Illinois side of things, and what I'm doing here as we're talking about this, I'm going to momentarily here, give me just a second here, as again, we are getting lots of updates in. I'm looking at Skyview, and I'll show that here in just a moment, of what things look like here in the metro, because if you're in the metro, you're probably looking off to the southwest and saying, hey, this thing is it's on its way, and it is. We've got some lightning, but the main circulation is going to be south of the metro. There's some lightning there, but what we have out ahead of it is we have a situation where we have some storms developing here too. Okay, that's for a different area. We have some storms developing out ahead of that main area that we're watching, and that could impact the metro. We'll get to that here in just a second, but looking at Skyview there, it's a dark picture right now, but I can tell you folks that we do have a little bit further back there into the southwest, we do have some serious weather that's moving in. So I'm going to take a look at this. Is radar, but what we've got here is, again, we've got radar kind of thinned out. So we take off a lot of the different, items that you see that we kind of clutter the screen with, and it gives you an idea of how these storms are evolving and what they look like. So here's the Metro Quad Cities. This is that activity I just talked about that is moving in, so not severe. Not too concerned about that yet. You can still see we have a little bit of a hook there, a little bit of a spiral there. We still carry that tornado warning here for at least another 9 minutes or so, but it does look like there is still some circulation, albeit weak. I will say this, the further east these storms go, that threat's going to transition really from a damaging wind, or from a tornado threat rather, to a damaging wind threat, and that's probably what we're going to start seeing happen here momentarily. So looking at the circulation, there is still circulation here. I'd say just outside of Eliza, might be close enough to Eliza. If you're in Eliza, I'd take your tornado precautions. A couple areas, maybe just south of Muscatine. I know Muscatine, it's probably pretty bumpy right now. A lot of lightning, heavy rain, maybe some hail too moving through town. Buffalo Prairie, though, you've got a few minutes. Now's your time to take shelter if you haven't done so already. We're out here towards Edgington as well. You need to take your tornado precautions. This is kind of moving a little bit more easterly versus the northeast track it was taking, so we're going to continue to watch that, but might even be seeing, and here's what I think this might transition to. We call them quasi-linear convective systems, fancy term, but what that means is this thing kind of will build into a line, and you get little spin-up tornadoes all throughout that line. And while this is our main area of circulation here that is in that tornado warning, you see kind of what's happening here. Those colors are starting to get brighter, but on the back end of that, we've got some of those grays and reds starting to poke in there. We could be seeing that starting to happen here, but Eliza, I'd be in your shelter if you haven't taken shelter yet. Again, this continues to move off to the northeast. We're going to continue to stay with you here too, because we've got that severe thunderstorm warning that continues as well. I want to take a look at some of the, so this gives a little bit better depiction here of what we're seeing. And I'd say, yeah, right over top of Eliza, that warning might need to see a tornado warning extended a little bit further south here into Mercer County. But Reynolds, Buffalo Prairie, that's an area kind of the, again, give or take, say 5 miles north and south of the Rock Island and Mercer County border right now. That is the area that I'm concerned with for that circulation. Still a circulation there. Not very well defined, but it is there. And again, this storm has a history of producing a tornado. Do we have that video prepared? I'm going to ask the booth if we've. So let's take a look. This was a video taken as the storm was back in the Letts area. If we can. Yeah, you can see here. Hard to see, and you can see that back there is a thin funnel. I was looking at this just moments ago, and it is there. And Parker, who got this video for us, he actually saw some damage as well. So we really appreciate his reports. And again, if you're in that area, we are hearing also not only from him, but we're also hearing from others too. I think it was the emergency manager that we do have some damage out there. Let's come back out here because I continue to show some concerns here for the Eliza area right there. You can see that is a circulation definitely starting to brighten up a little bit here. Not only that, but we do have some damaging wind potential too. And you can see, wow, 85 mile an hour winds. So tornado or not, I would say that might be picking up on a circulation, maybe a quick spin up there near the Eliza area, a little bit displaced from where that tornado warning is. In fact, where we're picking that up is not even in a severe thunderstorm warning. But I'd say if you're north of Joy, Millersburg, heads up. This is your first alert too. Again, and then off towards Preemption eventually here too. So that is an area, a couple pockets within this line as it's made its way into the Illinois side of the river now that we are watching. We've been focused on this. We do have some other storms that we need to talk about and look at. Again, here in the metro, there's nothing to be too concerned with these particular storms that are moving into the metro right now. There are nothing more than heavy rain and lightning producers. In fact, I'll take a look at the lightning right now. And so we got a new tornado warning.
Tornado warning. New tornado warning in effect for Mercer and Rock Island counties until 9:15.
All right, and again, folks, we were just showing that to you, and as we said, that rotation that we were picking up was actually displaced from that warning. They put out a new warning, so this does include Eliza. It's going to include the Millersburg area as well. Close, getting out here towards the Matherville Preemption area. You're not technically in it, but you're close enough. Edgington, you are in this as well. It is just, here's Milan, so it is just south of the metro. Doesn't quite include the metro, but I know, again, some areas do sound the sirens as a whole, so some of the counties that is. So if you're in this area, if you're in Rock Island County and you hear sirens, it's because we do have a tornado warning for Rock Island County, northern Mercer County as well. But right here is that circulation essentially over top of Eliza. If you're in Eliza, you need to take your immediate tornado precautions. If you haven't done so already, we continue to watch that. I'm going to get some information here on this warning, and what I'm most interested in is to see kind of the movement. So continue east, and it's slowed down a lot.
Yeah,
so,
it's only
25.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
only moving at 25 miles per hour. And yeah, so it has slowed down considerably. But again, this is a very dangerous situation. It is a radar indicated tornado, but that doesn't make it any less dangerous. And it is moving at a fairly good clip here too. So again, this new tornado warning remains in effect for Mercer and also for Rock Island counties until 9:15. Not only are we talking about rotation associated with this storm, but we're also talking about some large hail, about 1.25 inches in diameter, and some very heavy rain. Now, most of these storms that we've been seeing already, especially the ones headed toward the immediate Quad Cities metro area, they have been more heavy rain producers and also hail producers. So that's what we've been seeing outside of that tornado warning, but still within the scope of the severe thunderstorm warning. But again, just a few miles outside of the immediate Quad Cities metro, Davenport, Moline, Rock Island, and Bettendorf. So again, that's going to be coming in fairly quickly.
Absolutely, yeah, we continue to watch this here. I've got a path on this, and these are the communities and areas that we are concerned about. So you take a look here. This is going to be the times of arrivals. Buffalo Prairie, 8:40, Edgington, 8:45, or right around there. Taylor Ridge, just past 8:50. Again, give yourself a few extra minutes here. Then we get to Reynolds close to the top of the hour at 9 o'clock, and then eventually Preemption here at 9:15. So this continues on. New tornado warning again if you're just joining us. This is for Rock Island County, also Mercer County right now. So that is a big concern right now. New severe thunderstorm warning. It looks like 2 that is going to we'll see pop up here momentarily, or an update to that severe thunderstorm warning. But continuing on here, as shown here, we got that inflow notch here near the Eliza area. This storm has had a history of producing a tornado. We've also had reports of damage back into Muscatine County. We're going to be working to get some more information on that. Here is the Metro Quad Cities. Get in the metro. All this is going to stay south and west because this is the tornadic portion. You see how it's kind of displaced from the rest of this. It's kind of moving a little bit east and north and southeast rather, while the rest of this is moving towards the metro. But you can see the density of this is kind of breaking up a little bit. That's good news. That means that here in the metro at least, the most significant will go south. Not good news for you folks that are not in the metro, into the south here into southern Rock Island County and northern Mercer County. Again, that continues off to the east and northeast. Still have a little bit of a hail core there too, just between Muscatine and Eliza, which is always a sign that we've got a strong updraft within this. We can also see the lightning there too. Now, one thing, as I mentioned earlier, is as these storms continue to track off to the east, they're going to start to weaken a little bit and become more of a damaging wind threat. We're not seeing that yet with this storm, but we do, we're losing the daytime heating. So, theoretically, we should start to see these weaken at least a little bit. But this one has had kind of its own environment to work with, and we continue to see that. Just to the northeast of Eliza, let's get back into the wind velocity and get a little bit closer to street level and see if we can track this thing as we've showed you exactly where your community would be impacted. And we still, I'd say kind of up and down this line. What we might see here is kind of all throughout this area. I can't say that this is one specific area that I'm concerned with. I'd say kind of maybe a little spin up deal all up and down this line, and that is a concern as it continues off to the east. So Buffalo Prairie, you need to be in your shelter right now. That's about to move into your vicinity. It is in your vicinity, about to move into town. Again, right now, just for everybody's bearings, this is the Mercer and Rock Island County border. That is where the storm has been kind of tracking. So definitely a little bit more of an east, maybe just a slight southeast turn with this as well. So we continue to track that. Tornado warning in southern Rock Island County. So we're going to get some information on that. They continue with that warning. Okay, this is a continued extension from the rotation area that passed just south of Muscatine. The reflectivity shown here on radar rotation is not particularly strong. The key message with this and the storms north to the Quad Cities, strong winds. Okay, embedded rotation. So we're talking about that embedded rotation, which you saw a little bit of a spike there. So I'd say right there, we've probably got something going on. New tornado warning, so, and that's going to be. That's a new sound here. So that's going to include here at the station too. So we've got to get up to that. That's going to include the Metro Quad Cities, and certainly does. Excuse me, got a cacophony of alarms. You know that there's something happening, right? So we have a tornado warning. This is for the Metro Quad Cities. And what we've got happening here, folks, is we've got I can tell you right now, this is going to kind of be the same situation of what we were just showing here down to the south, is we've got little pockets of circulation all throughout this line. Bluegrass, shelter now. Quad City Metro, you are now under a tornado warning. You need to take this seriously. While the storm is weakening, there is some concerns with this because we do have some pockets of rotation again. Here is the Metro. So we've got Moline, here's Bettendorf, Davenport, even into Rock Island. You need to take your immediate tornado precautions if you haven't done so already. This is getting ready to move into town. I'm going to get some information. Teresa, you got any information on this particular warning? I haven't seen anything come through the chat yet, but
Okay,
what you got?
Well, right now we know it's located just over the Bluegrass area, about 8 miles west of Davenport, which means it is awfully close. So, it is moving east at about 35 miles per hour. This is radar indicated, but again, that rotation very strong, and that means that we could see really bad damage out of this storm, along with flying debris. Headed toward Davenport, Moline, Rock Island, Bettendorf, the Milan area could see this. Buffalo, Westlake Park, Rock Island Arsenal also in the path of this storm.
Okay, come back out here. We got Skyview. I just moved it here to the northwest. I want you to see where hopefully we can get a lightning strike. The minute I moved it, I saw a lowering here, and so unfortunately, we're at that time of night where all we're gonna be able to see is with the help of lightning here. This is looking off to the west northwest of stations at Brady Street in Davenport here on the kind of just north of downtown here, and we're looking off to the northwest. Palmer College right down here, Brady Street kind of to our south. And hopefully we can get a lightning strike here, and you can see there is a lowering here, and it's an area that's maybe got some concentrated circulation here that's going to be moving right into Davenport. I mean, it's heading right towards downtown Davenport. Anybody in Davenport, Bettendorf, and also includes the Illinois side too, Rock Island, Moline, East Moline, you're all under a tornado warning. You need to take your immediate tornado precautions. There you can kind of see it right there. We've got a base to this, and right here there's some concentrated area a little bit lower to the ground right now, and we're going to continue to watch that. Sirens are going, there you go, right there. You see that right there? We've got a lowering here. Again, just a little bit lower to the ground. I don't see any tornadoes or anything. It was even don't even see any wall clouds right now, but that is kind of the first stage of what you would expect to see with a developing tornado. So we're going to continue to watch that. I'm going to continue to move Skyview here as we continue to track this. Zooming out a little bit there, we get a little bit better clarity. There you can see kind of the base of the storm right there, kind of the edge of it. And again, we're going to kind of sit and watch unfortunately, over the last couple of years, we've seen several tornadic storms move through thanks to our Skyview camera. And the last evening one or nighttime one that we saw was the one that hit in 2023 up to the north. And there you can see right there. Right there's that base. So we're watching that move into town. But 2023 was the last one that we saw that hit the airport. It was an EF0. But we're going to continue to watch that. And I'm going to ask our booth, too, if we can keep Skyview up. Or at least kind of monitor it, maybe do a double box if possible, and keep me here at the chroma key too. That would be ideal. I'm going to continue to watch things here. Now we're looking off more northwesterly. You can see this is up towards the Amazon facility. We're talking North Park Mall is in this direction. Yeah, so right here's a kind of an area that I'm watching closely. Right there's Brady Street. So you can see we've got that lowering. Again, tornado warning now for the Metro Quad Cities. This is a dangerous situation. Again, if you're in the Metro, this is your time to take your tornado precautions and do it now. Sirens are sounding, and they're sounding because, again, we have got that, area of rotation that we're watching as well. So, okay, we're going to go back into the Metro. The storm itself that's moving into town now is kind of out ahead of the main area of inflow. So right here, you can see just, I'd say right here, this is kind of that area of inflow. This is the kind of just southwest of the Quad City metro area. I'm gonna go back in here, give me 1 second as we kind of reset things here. And again, if you're just joining us, 2 tornado warnings here in our viewing area, one for Mercer County, Rock Island County. That's this one here, southern Rock Island County, near the Eliza area. We continue with a slow moving storm, but a tornado warning continues there. We've had a confirmed tornado at times. Let's get into the metro. That is the area we are most concerned with here. And this is gonna be really, here you can see, I would say right now over Bluegrass is that area. So right here is where we have that circulation. You can see Skyview off to the left here, left, right, wherever, whatever direction you're looking at, be the right-hand side of your screen. We're looking at that. We're looking off to the northwest. We're looking more into this direction here. I'm going to swivel Skyview just a little bit further to the west. But you can see there on Skyview, as I talk, you can see the base of that storm. If we do have a tornado or developing tornado, that's where we're going to see it. So we've got a perfect view of it. It's coming right towards us, and we're going to continue to track that as it does so. But let's tell you exactly where we're seeing this right now here. Again, a lot of lightning too being indicated here. We can get back into the velocity product. And I would say right now here, Buffalo, it's pretty much over top of the Buffalo area. I do think the worst of it is going to go just to the, or at least be, I'd say south of Kimberly is a fair statement to say. If you're south of Kimberly, that's the area you need to be sheltering now. Also into Bettendorf, you might see this kind of skirt to your south, might not get quite to the Bettendorf area. But Moline and again, oh wow, yeah, look at this right here, folks. Look at that, yep, right there. You can see there is actually a little bit of a lowering. And this is just to the southwest of the station. Might be a little bit of a shelf cloud that's kind of suspended to the ground. But boy, that's interesting here. Again, if you're the Metro Quad Cities, you need to take shelter now. If we can come back out to, let's just do I'm gonna put it behind me here and kind of point and show you what we're looking at here. If we can come back out to here full to the booth, guys, if you appreciate that. I'm gonna take you here because again we can see it right now. This is the area that we're watching. Looks like it is a lowering, and boy, this is heading right towards the station too in downtown Davenport. Again, if you're south of Kimberly, that's the zone. North of Kimberly, you've got a severe thunderstorm. The tornadic portion of this is going to go to the south. But right here, we got it live here on Skyview. Got this First Alert camera network. This is what it's here for. And we are watching this lowering that is moving into town. Again, you can see the lightning back there. You can see the base of it. But right here specifically, this is that's an area of concern. No doubt about it here. We're looking west, southwest, rivers right here. And you can see that is that area right there moving right into the heart of the metro. If you're in Rock Island, Milan, Moline, you need to take your immediate tornado precautions. We're watching this here live to see if we get any tornadic activity or any tornado dropping out of it. Right now, I'm not seeing that, but it is an area of circulation. We do have some circulation on radar. I'm going to continue to track this. We're going to stay right here with this. Again, you folks in the metro, you need to take shelter now. I'm going to try to brighten this up too. Now we're also starting to get into some of that heavy rain as well. So unfortunately, we might lose visibility here and wouldn't be able to see much of what's going on, but we're going to try to brighten this up as much as we can. And right there, folks, is this area of kind of a lowering that we're watching. This is moving right into the metro. Very low cloud. In fact, there is a little bit of a depression right here. This is crossing I'd say kind of near the river here. This is southwest, yeah, look at that. Southwest Davenport right now. If you're in the southwest portion of Davenport, you need to be underground now. Take your shelter right now. Downtown Davenport too. This is going to continue to move through downtown Davenport. Again, I would say though, I'm most concerned about Rock Island along the river, Rock Island, Milan, and Moline, and then eventually off to East Moline. But right there, actually, as we continue to stay on this shot here, and Teresa, if you've got any updates that you're hearing, please chime in, let me know.
Yeah, well, so far, some information about a funnel cloud report that was just outside of Muscatine. Again, Letts Fire Department is out with some damage to power poles that were taken down on County Road G40 in Louisa County, west of Letts. So that shows you just how powerful that storm is that moved through the Letts area and now continues its trek to the east. So we're going to be seeing some very powerful winds out of these storms, powerful rotation as well, and also some large hail as well as heavy rain. And remember, tornadoes are very difficult to spot at night, so please try to be sky aware. Get the latest information from us on air and online. We'll keep you informed with what's going on, but right now we're still under a tornado warning that remains in effect for parts of our viewing area, including Muscatine, Rock Island, and Scott counties. That in effect until 9 o'clock.
Yes, thank you, Teresa. We continue to watch this. This looks like kind of what we've got here is a very ominous looking sky, no doubt about it. This is a lowering that's coming out of the storm. It looks like it is a shelf cloud, but within the shelf cloud, we've got these areas here. This is moving right over top of downtown Davenport, downtown Rock Island. You folks, you're under a tornado warning. You need to take your tornado precautions immediately if you haven't done so already. Wow, look at that right there. There might be, I'm going to take a look at, and kind of, yeah, right there. While we're, I think we have a lowering, possibly a funnel here. I'm going to go to our camera here on top of the Modern Woodman building here. Give me 1 second here as this is going to shift around here in just a moment. But this will be in the Rock Island side of things here. Let's take a look here as this is going to jump screens, and then I'm going to continue. Yeah, right back here, Teresa. I think it's just near I-280. I would say near is that matching up with radar?
Yes,
the
it is.
Okay, so right here, you're going to see it flash here. There is a lowering right here that kind of right in this vicinity here. This is our Modern Woodman camera sitting on top of the Modern Woodman building in downtown Rock Island, looking off to the west. I-280 is back here. We've got, yeah, look at that. Okay, so right here is where we're watching that. That's going to, I would say at this point near the I-280 bridge, if you know anybody traveling on I-280, get off right now because this is not only are we going to be seeing the potential for a tornado, we're going to be seeing some very damaging winds, heavy rainfall, maybe even some hail with this, but right in this vicinity here, there's a little bit of a depression. Unfortunately, here's the deal, folks. As Teresa mentioned, you're not going to see these, and we're going to have a hard time even seeing these with a camera, but yeah, right? I want you to pay attention to this area here is where we have a little bit of a lowering, kind of something dropping out of the cloud here, and a little bit of like a haze that we see that's a little bit denser than the rest of this. And yeah, you can see there's a little inflow tail there too, so we have a wall cloud that's moving into Rock Island. If you're in Rock Island, you need to be in your shelters right now. I would say that concern is going to keep it on the Illinois side. Rock Island, Milan, Moline, shelter now if you haven't done so already. We continue with a tornado warning, and folks, I'm telling you right now, that is a wall cloud that continues to lower to the ground, and unfortunately, we can only see it here as we get these. As we get lightning to kind of illuminate it. But yeah, right there is where that's at. So we continue to watch that. Let's go back to radar, and I'm going to show you exactly where that's at based on radar. We're looking at it. We're going to keep watching this very closely. And again, in the booth, if we want to go back to that double box, I'd be totally fine with that as well. As we continue to watch this storm move through the metro Quad Cities right now. We're going to get some streets on and tell you exactly where the circulation is at and exactly who needs to be in shelter right now. So the circulation, it's broad. It's not very well defined. I wouldn't say that we have a tornado on the ground or anything like that at the moment. But what I can tell you is here, I'd say, yeah, just just kind of west southwest. This is about right where it's at. Here's I-280, very loose rotation, but there is something there, and we're seeing that in the cloud layer too. You can see on Skyview as we continue to look at that we've got a lot of heavy rainfall moving in, and it's going to obscure our picture here momentarily if it's not already. But you can see this ominous-looking shelf cloud has moved into and through, but behind that shelf cloud, kind of back where I've got that pointed, there is a little bit of a lowering. So we got to continue to watch that. Sirens continue to go off here in the metro. If you're in Davenport, Bettendorf, also over towards Moline, Rock Island, Milan, you need to be in your shelters immediately. So you've got this, you can see the kind of that split here. This isn't a well-defined circulation, but we've got little pockets of circulation here within this line. So right now, the area I'm most concerned with is, oh wow, there's, if you saw that on Skyview, I don't know if you saw that, but there's some power flashes. We can't tell, I can't say that that's tornado that's causing that. We could see, it could be damaging winds as well, but we're gonna see if it's concentrated here into one area. I just almost due south of where we're at, looking at kind of south of the Centennial here is where I noticed that. It could also be caused from lightning too. So unfortunately, we just don't have enough visual to be able to determine what we're seeing. And I can tell you, Skyview is going to be useless here in about a second. So if we come back out here full, we can track this and continue to give you the first alert here to areas that are in the path of this and to the southeast. So right now, we got very heavy rainfall falling at the station here in Davenport. Yeah, you can hear it. Possibly some hail too, but okay, 35 mile an hour. Let's take a look at that. Thanks, Tidy. If we take a look at the front porch camera, and you can see there, that's looking down towards Brady Street. Heavy rainfall. Things are slowing down there, and you can see as we pan around, yeah, we've got that heavy rainfall moving into and through the Metro Quad Cities. So you don't want to be traveling in this because not only are we going to be talking about that potential for a tornado, but we're also concerned with the heavy rain, the damaging wind potential, maybe some hail as well. Okay, so we've got a good speed on this now. I'm going to get some times of arrival here, folks, as this continues to move through the metro. So it's moving about 35 miles per hour at this point. So give me 1 second here as we get that perfect. Okay, so we know where this is at, and we know where it's continuing on to the southeast here. I'm gonna give kind of a broad path, but right now, East Moline, you got a few minutes here. It's about over top of you now. So East Moline, you should be in shelter based off of our warnings. Quad City International Airport, you got a few minutes. You need to be in your shelter right now. This is gonna hit the airport. It's gonna hit Cole Valley, Joslin here as we get towards the top of the hour, and then 9:02 is when it's gonna hit the Green River, Kelowna area. As we continue with a tornado warning, I wanna mention too, so this is the, we're really focused on this because now we can see it. We can see that little bit of a lowering, which is right in this vicinity here, kind of east of Buffalo, just across the river there, near the I-280 area. That's the area of, again, where we got that wall cloud. But we also have that tornado warning. I don't want to forget you folks down in Mercer County, where we continue with a tornado warning down there and continued circulation. So we'll get back to the metro in a moment. But right here is this line right here is we've got little pockets of circulation near the Millersburg area. If you're off to the east here, here's some communities: Preemption, Matherville, Viola. You're not quite in that warning. That warning goes to just west of 67 there, but that is, you folks need to take shelter now. If we continue to see this type of display, I would say that they would probably extend our tornado warning further east into eastern Rock Island County. And I want to look at, actually, I'm looking at something here, Teresa. You've got right. Look at that. That is very impressive here. You know, when we talk about a hook echo,
oh, yeah,
you've got that happening right here. Here's Edgington, and it's right in one of the, that's that area where we're seeing those brighter colors, albeit small. There is a notable circulation. That is exactly where our tornado would be. While we're on this, let's take a look and see if we see any debris with this particular storm, and there could be something here. I want to, you know, it's going to be too hard to tell. These aren't big tornadoes. These are smaller tornadoes, but still can do damage, and that's why we're on the air covering this. But notable uptick here, right just to the northeast of Millersburg. So we can get a better idea of where this is at. Tornado warning continues here for Mercer, Rock Island County. This warning is in effect until 9:15, but here just north or along of Ridge Road is right where that circulation is, right there. It's a notable circulation. While that storm is showing some signs of weakening, it's still holding on to a circulation. We continue with that here, I'd say right there. We continue with that circulation, Ridge Road area, maybe just to the north of Ridge Road, but all up and down this line, we do have areas, little pockets of rotation, all the way maybe to Aledo. Aledo, you're barely outside that warning, I should say. Just to your north is where that tornado warning starts, but we continue to watch that. Back to the metro and to the concerns we've had for the metro. Right now, if you're in Davenport, while we still have damaging wind potential, heavy rainfall, hail, Davenport, the circulation's now crossed the river, and it's kind of moving a little bit more southeast. I'd say Bettendorf, too, we've now kind of seen, we got those, you kind of see those reds have moved in to the Iowa side. So Davenport, tornado potential, I think, is now to the Illinois side of the river. And so Davenport, Bettendorf, you can come out of your tornado shelters, but still, we want you to be weather aware because we still have severe thunderstorm potential with this storm. Heavy rainfall, a lot of lightning. You can see that on our porch camera there on Brady Street, which becomes just an absolute mess this time of year when we get, Teresa got an
Kyle,
update.
yeah, just wanted to let you know the tornado warning for Rock Island, southwestern Scott, and east central Muscatine counties has been canceled. Of course, that doesn't mean we still won't see any strong storms in the area. That's going to continue. So again, while that warning has been canceled, still some very powerful storms, strong winds in excess of 60 miles per hour, and large hail associated with that, as well as very heavy rain. That's something that we can certainly hear on the roof here at the broadcast center. So something you're definitely going to want to be aware of. And also, we still got that tornado warning for Mercer and Rock Island counties that remains in effect until 9:15. I'm going to go ahead and put the radar in motion, and you can see that is really starting to pick up a little bit of speed. Still some decent hail signatures there, but again, we're talking about rotation in these storms that can be very, very powerful, and especially because we're here looking at tornadoes at nighttime. They can be very difficult to see, so trust us on this. There is a lot to talk about here with tornadic activity happening in this area. Again, right along the county line and of Rock Island County and also Mercer County, and also seeing a lot of that heavy rain as well, and a lot of that training over the same places. So we could see the possibility of some flash flooding.
Yeah, Teresa, thank you. And yeah, so good news there that tornado warning has been canceled. And I'm going to show you, I'm taking back kind of frame by frame. And we'll, here in a minute, too, toss to William Ingalls to get any updates on any power outages, if we have any. Again, we've been focused on Muscatine County. But this is a few frames ago. This was the point when the tornado warning got issued. Here's Bluegrass. That was the circulation. Again, time 8:23. This is an old frame. I'm going to go frame by frame as it moved into the metro. And you see kind of how that dropped southeast here. And here's I-280. We showed, as we could see it before the rain hit, we saw that lowering, kind of a depression that formed, maybe a little bit of a wall cloud that dropped, moved right near the I-280 corridor. We picked it up on Skyview and our modern Woodman camera there. Thankfully, though, as it continued off to the southeast into Rock Island, it continues to weaken. And here we've got a good view of it, and you can see what we've got. I'm going to show you this. This is what's heading through the metro. If you're in Moline, East Moline, Rock Island, Milan, tornado potential has eased. I don't want to say it's over because I'd say just southwest of Milan here. Now into that other tornado warning, we still have to watch this because this is where we get those spin-ups. But here's Moline, okay, Coal Valley. You still have to be concerned with some damaging wind potential, but you folks in the Illinois side of the Quad Cities too, that tornado warning has been canceled. You can come out of your basements, but still stay alert because we have very heavy rainfall, a lot of lightning, hail also being indicated, and I think we might have some a little bit of hail that just fell here at the station as Teresa, as you were talking. We heard a little bit of clanking on the roof, and you can see, a little bit of a hail core here being picked up. This is Wisconsin Avenue right there. This is Kimberly Road, heads up to Northwest Boulevard there. We got some hail being indicated here. One thing to note here is with this particular scan, this is Mountain Joy Airport right here. So the radar is barely getting to the base of the clouds, and so we're not getting up into where that hail core would be. But nonetheless, very heavy rainfall continues, crossing into, again, the Bettendorf area. I-74 too, it's going to be a mess. If we've got a traffic camera too, we'll take a look at what it looks like on I-74 because I'm sure it is a mess down there right now. But again, I want to go back to the concern at hand here, and it's this tornado warning that continues here for at least another 20 minutes or so. And here we go. We continue with a circulation here. Here's Matherville, preemption. I will say this, though. So we had that circulation still right there, still a little bit of a weak rotation that we continue watching. You got that hook shape there with that. This storm has had a history of producing tornadoes, as we have mentioned. So I'm just checking to see if there's been any updates. Okay, let's see. Has been going off. Yeah, a lot of. I appreciate everybody sending your reports in too. Thank you so much for doing that. We got a lot of stuff coming in, but still here near preemption, I'm still noticing some circulation. I'd say it's enough to keep that tornado warning going, at least for now. Preemption and Matherville, I wouldn't be surprised here if we do see maybe an extension of this tornado warning, or maybe even a severe thunderstorm warning with that tornado possible tag. Very possible that we could see that. But that's going to continue off to the east. Let's put a track on this, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to put a track on this whole line of storms, because it is going to continue on to the southeast here. We're still dealing with that potential for, again, the tornado potential does exist here for a while, but what I'm most concerned with, I think, is going to be damaging winds as this continues off to the southeast. We get further into the night, and damaging winds are going to become increasingly more of a concern here as we continue on. So east, a little bit southeast here on this path, and I did speed it up just a little bit. Joslyn here, getting close to the top of the hour. We got Orion here just after 9 o'clock, so Orion, get ready. This is moving into town. Geneseo here about 9:15, 9:30 Cambridge, Walnut, Illinois, and Bureau County. We're talking getting close to 10 o'clock hour, 9:40 or 9:45, and then Kewaunee here getting close to the 10 o'clock hour as well, as that storm will move in at about 9:50. But right now, if you're on the Iowa side of the Quad Cities, and really at this point, I'd say the Iowa side of the viewing area, things have eased quite a bit. I want to drop back down because we've been focused on this cluster of storms here in the metro and to the south. We do have some storms up here to the north here in Whiteside County. These are sub-severe. You might be seeing a little bit of a core there, but that's going to be a damaging wind threat if we do see some gusty winds. We could take a look. In fact, I'm not seeing any hail, so that's a sign that we don't have. Yeah, not even a damaging wind threat. So heavy storms at this point for you folks in Whiteside County. So no concerns for you. Down to the south, though, we do continue with that tornado warning. It is outside the viewing area here, but we do have some viewers down in Keokuk. This is Hancock County, about to move into McDonough County. We do continue with a tornado warning here until 9 o'clock for that area. It is now east of Keokuk. Burlington, you got rain moving in. Nothing severe, nothing to be too concerned with there. We head back to the north here. Okay, let's see. Okay, so yeah, they're actually making a note about that storm we were just watching, that the circulation has eased with that as well. And that's going to continue to be the thing here. As we head further into the night, everything will start to diminish. But right now, we continue with a tornado warning here for Mercer, Rock Island County until 9:15. We do still have some circulation within that. I don't want to let our guard down yet. If you're in the metro, we've got, again, warning has been canceled. You can come out of your basements if you were taking shelter. That warning is now over. Off to the northeast of the Quad Cities, we got heavy storms, but nothing to be concerned with there. No wind, no circulations. Let's go back into this storm, though, that we've been watching. And gosh, this thing has had a tornadic component to it, really ever since it entered our viewing area. It was when it was near Letts, and I think that was about, Therese, was that about 7:30-ish?
Yeah.
I think that we went on, or maybe it was 8 o'clock. I mean, it could have been about 8 o'clock that we went on, but gosh, time has slipped away from me today. But it was at that point we went on as we were starting to get reports of a tornado. Shortly after we went on, it was issued, a tornado warning was issued, and we had reports of damage. So we know in Muscatine County that there was tornado damage and there was a tornado, and we've got some video of that too from earlier. But right here, again, near preemption, this is one of those deals where it's not as well defined as it once was. It's still something to be concerned with, but we could probably get away with a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag. Otherwise, we might see a tornado warning extended here into the eastern fringe of Rock Island County and Mercer County. But we're still watching that preemption area. Actually, a little bit of an uptick there. So Reynolds preemption, that's where the circulation is. Maybe also to the southwest of Matherville too, as well. Getting ready to approach the Route 67 corridor here. So if you know anybody traveling on 67, let them know to pull over, shut it down. That's going to be a pretty nasty storm nonetheless. we got the tornado threat, but we've also got some potential for damaging winds within that as well. So we continue to track that. I'm going to go back to the radar. You can see here a couple things to note is that hail core. That hail core has really diminished. It's still there, but it's weak. Okay, we have to watch though, because we've been watching this little area of circulation here and a little bit of a redevelopment maybe of developing hail core there. So this might continue on here for a little bit longer, but the overall footprint of the storm has diminished a little bit. One tall tale sign that we always look at with these types of storms is the lightning and how much lightning we've had and how much lightning continues on, and we do have some lightning here. This is a lot different than what you're seeing up here to the north. That storm has weakened, less lightning, but here where we do have that continued tornado warning, that strength continues on. So yeah, we continue with that. Continue with that tornado warning. So you folks into eastern parts of Muscatine County, Rock Island County, heads up at Preemption, just south of Preemption and southwest of Preemption. Getting ready to move over the 67 corridor here between Viola and Preemption. Heads up, this is heading towards you. I'm going to be curious to see what they do here because we're still noticing enough of a circulation here that I would say we might continue with, again, a tornado warning or severe thunderstorm warning, tag tornado possible. Back into Preemption, so Preemption right here. Here you are. It is just barely to your southwest. In fact, I feel like we've been doing this a lot. We've been lucky, and a lot of these storms that we've had and tornadic producing storms that we've had have been just outside of populated areas. And so Preemption, about 3 miles to your southwest, very close to the Matherville area here, is where there is a little pocket of circulation that we're watching. But you can see that is, I would say, weakening pretty quickly here. So let's do this. Let's put the lightning back on, and yeah, this is, while we had, you can see what's happening here. It's pretty obvious that we're now kind of seeing that storm diminish a little bit. We do still have some heavy thunderstorm activity in the metro Quad Cities. Nothing that I'm too concerned with. We might see this warning ride here for another 15 minutes, and then we might at that point start seeing these storms fall below severe limits. So we could be very close to heading back to programming here. We're going to stay with this warning as it continues here till 9:15. I do want to toss it over to William Ingalls at the news desk and see, we've had a lot of reports coming into the news center. Will, what have you gathered here with all these storms that have moved in?
Yeah, one thing to keep in mind, I mean, we've been tracking these storms, and especially the first alert team, really even since they were in central Iowa. So that Des Moines area, this whole wave of storms swept through. Obviously, I keep an eye on all of the power outages, across our region. And this line of storms, while it has had the potential to leave a lot of damage behind, at least to this point, as far as looking at a power outage map, next to nothing. There's not even a handful out of Des Moines. Of course, there still might be time to register those and log those closer to the Quad Cities area. Really, the only notable stuff that I've been able to pull up is largely in the Stevenson County area and even into Ogle County, outside our viewing area just a little bit. And those were those storms that we had right around the 6 o'clock hour that first caused us to break into programming. Thankfully, nothing with this larger line of storms that has had us back on the air right around that 8 o'clock hour, Kyle and Teresa. So thankfully, nothing too severe. You guys mentioned hail a couple times, at least outside the station. I went to set up that camera right outside Brady Street just to give us another view. I did not see any hail out there, but definitely sheets of rain. Not easy to drive in at all.
No, it's not. And that's going to be the concern here is it is going to be pretty messy if you do have to be out and about. What we're noticing here, I have a firm belief that we're going to see this tornado warning ride. And just in the last couple of scans, you can see what's happening. That was moving like east-southeasterly. Now it's kind of moving a little bit more of a northeasterly component to it. With that, I would say we got to watch that. It looks like it is weakening. So while we still have that tornado warning, you folks in eastern Rock Island and Mercer counties, Preemption area over towards Viola, Orion, heads up. This could be a bumpy storm moving through, but we're noticing the lightning has really gone down, and that's always the tall tale sign. And I just want to mention, too, a couple things. One, we showed some lightning earlier, and one thing that we did notice with that, and I'll go back to that, and actually had some folks chime in and say, what's with all the plus signs? Well, this shows not just lightning, but it depicts what lightning is, the negative strikes and positive strikes. Positive strikes are the ones that you hear them. You get that big boom. They usually strike things. They make it to the ground. In fact, folks in the metro would know a couple weeks ago when we had, it was the severe weather event followed by the big blizzard. We had a tree in eastern parts of Davenport got struck by a positive lightning strike, and it just destroyed that tree and even blew out some windows. So That's what we're looking at there. Lightning has definitely down-ticked a lot, so going back into the only storm that we're concerned with at this point. And then, I mean, there's still some broad circulation here right over top of preemption or just maybe to the south here, getting ready to cross into eventually here into Henry County. But yeah, Sherrard heads up. This is your alert. Again, you're not technically under a tornado warning, but you don't need to be to take shelter. I move indoors now because even if we don't have a tornado here, we could get some, we will be seeing some very heavy rainfall, gusty winds, damaging winds potential there too, and also could see some hail. That hail is not as impressive. And I can tell you this now, that the whole storm itself, here's the tornado warning, the whole storm itself is outside, and they canceled it. So, and speaking of too, we are at just past 9 o'clock, so we want to let you know you're watching continued severe weather coverage here on KWQC TV6 News in Davenport, Iowa. I'm meteorologist Kyle Dickens along with Teresa Bryant, Willie Mingles. As we continue to keep you ahead of these storms, we've had a very bumpy evening tonight, so we continue with this storm.
Okay, that warning has just been dropped.
Excellent. That is good news for you folks out there. As we've been mentioning, scan to scan, it is continued to weaken. Very little lightning. Heavy rain is now starting to clear the metro Quad Cities. We continue off to the east and southeast. Kelowna to Joslin, get ready. We're going to see some heavy rain move in and some heavy storms. Orion, Geneseo, Cambridge, get ready too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to back out and show you exactly where everything's at right now. Also, to you folks in Whiteside County, you're getting some heavy thunderstorm activity now from Sterling. Again, this whole line extends really from Sterling Rock Falls all the way down to our storm that we're watching there near the preemption area. Most of this right now, all of this in Whiteside County is weak and below severe limits, well below severe limits. Here in the metro, it's heavy storms, but we had that tornado warning that moved through the metro, and as that storm moved through the metro, there was circulation. We even caught a little bit of a lowering that formed here as we watched it on our Skyview camera. But we still have to watch this storm in southern Rock Island County. No warning. That warning was canceled, and I totally agree with that assessment from the Weather Service. I think they did a good job with that. But west of I-74 there in Henry County, get ready, that will cross over. It's going to go right over top of Orion. We'll still be watching that here. So here's what we'll do. So right now, things are starting to clear out. I'm going to put a path on this and kind of give you folks that are out ahead of this line of heavy thunderstorms an idea of when you can expect this to move into your hometown. So, okay, here we go. So here's the areas of Orion, about 9:10, 9:11. We'll see that move in Geneseo, 9:20. Amboy in Lee County, 9:30, Lee County, Illinois. Then we get to Kewaunee about 9:40, 9:45, maybe up to 9:50, and then Princeton just after the 10 o'clock hour. The deal is, folks, and the reason we didn't have that tornado watch extended too far to the east is because this is going to quickly become a deal as we are seeing. Teresa, yeah,
and I'll explain something. Is they have shaved back a considerable portion of that tornado watch, but they have updated the tornado watch to still include Scott County and Rock Island County, as well as several counties in Illinois. And that does include Whiteside and Henry County, Mercer County. We are also seeing that in Warren and Henderson counties as well. Again, that continues until 10 o'clock. So we've got a little less than an hour left to go to that. And I just want to take another look at what's happening out there right now on our live Skyview. Not seeing much in the way of any lightning out there, but well, we just saw some lightning there. But again, just because these storms are starting to weaken somewhat doesn't mean that they are not or no longer producing some very strong winds and also large hail. This is something that we're going to continue to watch over the course of the next couple of hours because, yeah, we are still seeing quite a bit happening across our region. No warnings out for the TV6 viewing area, with the exception of we do see some warnings for flash flooding across some of the northern portions of our viewing area. That is where we saw quite a bit of rain last night, and then saw quite a bit of rain moving through late this afternoon and into the early evening hours. Still some rain in those locations, and because those storms continue to train over the same areas, that brought a lot of very heavy precipitation, much more than the ground could handle. So again, that's why we are seeing flash flood warnings across parts of Jackson, Joe Davies, also parts of Carroll County as well. And again, even though we don't see any warnings out there right now, that doesn't mean that we still won't see any strong storms still moving through parts of the viewing area, at least the eastern portions of the TV6 viewing area.
Yeah, and one thing we talked about too before we, here, I would say here too, in about a couple minutes here, we're going to take it back to NBC programming, and we'll get ready for the 10 o'clock news, and we'll give you some updates on the damage and where we did have some reports of tornado damage here in Muscatine County specifically. But looking at our traffic cameras here, here's I-280, and we got I-280 at Rockingham, and you can see slow moving there. I-74 bridge looks okay, but the Centennial Expressway, you can't even see the camera. So travel not advised right now just because of that heavy rainfall. Going back to radar here, and then again, we're going to be taking it back to programming here momentarily as we have seen all of our warnings be dropped. But here in the Metro Quad Cities, things are clear now. So we're in good shape here. I still want to keep a very close eye, and we're going to be monitoring this storm as it moves into Henry County because once again, noticing maybe a little bit of uptick in lightning, so there could be some reorganization with that. Something we have to watch. South of Coal Valley, that would be an impact for Henry County, Illinois, Cambridge to Geneseo, Orion, I-74 corridors where that will cross here momentarily. We'll continue to watch that, but right now that tornado warning was dropped, and so we don't see that as a current threat. Real quick before we jump back here, we take a look at the velocity, and you can see what we've got here is, so you got the reds and the greens there. And as it takes an update here, we get some fresh data, in fact, to look at. And you can see we don't have, we got that gray line that has got a clear delineation between where the outflow winds and inflow winds are, outbound and inbound winds are. What that likely is a shelf cloud, where I can tell you, or a gust front too. That's probably what you're seeing if you're out into places like Orion. You're probably seeing a low-hanging cloud that's pushing all that humidity as it does. We got all that cool air coming out of that storm. And so we do have to watch, though, because sometimes you can get those spit-up tornadoes. But no indication of that right now. That's why that tornado warning was canceled. Back up to the north end of the metro. No threat for the metro. Metro, you're clear. We'll start to see things subside pretty quickly here as time goes on. Up into parts of Whiteside County. Again, nothing too concerning there. Last thing here real quick, kind of take a broad view. We do have a severe thunderstorm watch that was issued here. This is southeast into Bureau County, Lee County, Illinois, Stark County, Knox County, that tornado watch there. As this line moves through, that watch is going to continue to get shaved off. So we're going to see that go away. I would even see probably before long, once that line gets through Bureau County here, probably about 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, we'll see that watch dropped out there. Our threat does end. We do have those flash flood warnings to the north where we've seen a tremendous amount of rainfall along the Highway 20 corridor. So big time flooding up there happening. And I'm going to show this real quick before we head back. And actually, I'm going to turn that off because when we turn our automatic surface, it just plots everything, every high, low, you name it, and gets really cluttered. But what I can tell you is there is a front that's moving in behind this, and that threat is going to come to an end. We do have some storms, though, out into central Iowa. They are warned. Here's actually central and eastern Iowa now. I don't see those being a threat for us. I think our threat is going to come to an end as that front continues to move through. So that's the latest. Again, we're going to continue to compile some reports. We did have a tornado that looked to move through at least southern parts of Muscatine County. We've got confirmed reports of damage out of that too. So we're going to continue to keep you updated here throughout the evening. We'll have more tonight on your news at 10. If any new warnings are issued here into our Illinois counties, we will certainly jump on and let you know. We'll be back here for your news at 10.